E.T. Rogers. Glad to have you with us today for another episode of Revival and Power. I want to share this week and the coming week, and so if you're only catching part 2, I want you to go back and watch this one, part 1, on God's heart for revival. Now, I've been a revivalist all my life. I mean, I was born into revival. I was born for the purpose of revival. When I was called into the ministry in 1985, that my heart just soared for revival to see. I just had a passion for it. I wanted to see the move of God sweep forth a nation, and I would read book after book after book after book on revivals around the world, and even the Great Awakenings here in America. It did something to my spirit, something on the inside of me. And today that many people, they look at revival as only a series of meetings that happens once or twice a year. Revival, you can call it revival, but all you're doing is meetings if God isn't showing up. And why don't we just call it what it is? We're having a series of meetings that we're calling revival. When true revival breaks out, everything changes. Lives change, people change, churches change, communities change, nations change. And this is God's heart, is to bring change. In the change, what he is doing is bringing restoration. He is restoring things to their original divine order. When it comes to the Christian, he is restoring us to our first love. And there is a verse in Psalm 85, verse 6 and 7. Again, I'm reading from the Passion Translation. It says, "Revive us again, O God. I know you will. Give us a fresh start. Then all your people will taste your joy and gladness. Pour out even more of your love on us. Reveal more of your kindness," and here's the word, "and restore us back to you." So God's heart in revival is a thing of restoration and restoring. Now, the enemy of our souls has always had this goal of dividing us, dividing the church, dividing homes, dividing communities, dividing marriages. That is his goal. And there have been many, many people within the church that have had a position in the church where they enjoyed the presence of God, where they were looked up to. And perhaps something came along in their life where they failed, they faltered, and they slipped up. And what does the enemy do? The enemy uses that as an opportunity to divide. And he will separate that person who used to live in the presence of God. He will separate them from the rest of the congregation or the rest of his friends, the rest of his family. And he will convince them that God has abandoned you and he's never coming back. And people will isolate, they will hold at arm's length people who have fell into sin or something along those lines. But revival is about bringing back people to where they were. It is about restoration. You know, Jesus went out. He told the parable of there's 99 sheep that are safe in the fold, but one gets lost. But that shepherd will leave the 99 to go find the one. What is he telling? He said, I'm looking to restore. I'm looking to find that one that has been cut off from the rest of the flock, the one that has been outcast, the one that has been slandered, the one that has been talked about, the one that feels that there is no longer any value to his life, that he has no purpose in the kingdom. This is the one that God is going after. This is the one that Jesus is concerned about. His love is greater than all sin and stronger than all rejection that hell can throw at him. His goal, his purpose is to bring that one person back into the fold, back into restoration, back into a place where they can be what they were before and complete their calling and complete their destiny. God is always looking for that one. The thing is, he said, taste and see. You got to taste the Lord's goodness. You got to taste the Lord's mercy. You've got to taste his love. So there is always a responsibility to act on the person that failed, the person that has been rejected. He has got to overcome all of the naysayers. He's got to overcome all of the words that have been spoken against him. He has got to believe that Jesus loves him and is willing to reach out to him and bring him back in and put him back in the position that he once knew. It is about bringing them from outer darkness of guilt and shame to come into the glorious light of restoration. But you must personally see for yourself the king is greater in love than the enemy is in hate, and his heart soars. King David, when he was fully in the throne and over all the nation of Israel, he asked the question, he said, is there anyone of Saul's household that I might be good to, that I will be a benevolent person toward them? And they said, yes, there's a son called Mephibosheth, but he's lame. And the truth is, you weren't supposed to have a lame man to sit at the king's table. But David restored Mephibosheth to a position that he thought he would never see again. And he ate with the king at the king's table. He ate the king's food. He brought him back. He restored him. And this is the example that God has given us. But God is the experience. God will never, ever look at you with anything other than eyes of love. He has no hatred. He has no disdain for you. He is not disappointed in you. He is full of love, and he wants to see you fully restored. Until next week.